Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me yet again on this gorgeous Thursday. I am here in Los Angeles and the sun is shining, and I'm so happy to have everyone here. So, today is going to be a showcase on our IP desk phones and soft phone solution. And towards the tail end, we are going to be doing a live demo on how to provision and set up the phones. So please hang around towards the end, as it's going to be really great to see this real time with Tony and how this is all set up and how easy it is to get working. So thanks for joining us and taking time out of your busy schedules. My name is Bree Fernie. I head up the marketing department here at Team Clearly. I'm going to be conducting the presentation portion today, and then Tony's going to jump in with the live demo and lead any questions that you might have. So right now I have everyone muted. Feel free to post any questions as you think of them in the webinar control panel. We'll get to them at the end. We're also going to be recording this webinar for your review later, which will be posted on our YouTube channel and emailed out to everyone that registered. So the best way to really stay in touch with our company and latest news is on our social channels. You'll definitely want to check that out. I'm hoping today's webinar will take somewhere around 45 minutes, and we'll try to keep it at that, although there's quite a bit of material to cover as I want to go in depth on our IP phones, their capabilities, the models, pricing, and the customization options, and then how to set them up with a FreePBX platform. So for those of you who are new here and not familiar with ClearlyIP, I'll get started with a proper introduction. So ClearlyIP consists of a team of experts. We have a combined 300 years of experience building some of the largest telecom applications in the world. Our team has been very closely associated with the FreePBX open source community. Some members of our team are actually some of the original collaborators of FreePBX. We have offices all over. Our headquarters are in Wisconsin. We have an office in Vancouver, Montreal, and staff located all around the globe. And our team truly does consist of telecom experts that have been proven leaders in the industry, selling, developing, and pioneering new technology and bringing that to the business telecom marketplace. We support a partner channel in solutions for end users, for small, medium businesses, enterprise, global companies, anyone really looking to take advantage of unified communications. So I like to say we are a group of phone nerds that are excited about future possibilities and how we can bring them to businesses. So as a company, we are always trying to provide new solutions or new technology to our customers that can really help our partners and system administrators grow, manage, and improve their business. So recently we brought to market what we believe to be the best cloud-based provisioning and device management tool for FreePBX and for Clearly Cloud and other IP-based systems, and Cloud Device Manager supports over 150 devices, so different makes and manufacturers of phone endpoints. So if you're wondering what exactly is Cloud Device Manager, CDM is a cloud-based manager that's going to allow you to provision, control, and manage your IP phone devices from a single GUI interface that is both secure and intuitive to use. So for years, partners have been asking for a single pane of glass to manage their devices and endpoints. And although our dev team has been working on this solution really for the past 3 years, it was one of the first things we started working on when the company was founded. So it really has been years of constant development to get where we are today. I wanted to mention this right away. If some of you are not familiar with the Cloud Device Manager, you're going to want to check that out for fast platform agnostic device provisioning for all your system deployments. Also, as a side note, I want to mention we are shipping all version 2 phones now. So we announced our version 2 phones a few months ago. They now have dual processors, so they're even faster. So no need to replace any of your existing phones. This is simply an update, refresh, due to the supply chain issues with semiconductors in connection with COVID. So you can combine the version 2 models with the previous generation, and our version 2 phones are also compatible with the NetSapiens platform, as well as a number of other manufacturers. Okay, so we're going to talk about our line of IP phones, customization options, some tight integration for the open source platform FreePBX, and some of the advanced functionalities that our phones provide. Tony's going to be doing that demonstration using the FreePBX platform today. We really get asked a lot about our IP desk phones. They really are best in class. And, customers ask us constantly, what should they expect or be looking for in a physical IP desk phone? And what really are the key technologies that you need to have when making your hardware decision? So we are excited to share some information about our phones. And because there are not many people aware that we do offer best-in-class IP phones at ClearlyIP that work seamlessly with our platforms, tight integration with FreePBX installations, as well as all other IP-based systems. So those phones as well, they're customizable. So you can put your brand, your logo for both your business or your large end customers if you want a logo on the phones. And that is not a huge process or massive expense. And we certainly don't require a large commitment on inventory to take advantage of that program. So, we try to go over these things so that our partners and customers are confident in using ClearlyIP phones and continuing with them, as they really are still a great solution. So we currently have a line that offers 3 models of phones: the CIP230, 250, 270, and one sidecar, the CIP200. So let's talk about the commonalities first. So there are some really unique and cool things that our engineering team has done with our phones. So all 3 models have color screens. Even our entry-level phone, all models support gigabit network. All are capable of native 5-way conference calling. Again, all of our phones are customizable with a logo and brand. Whether you're a reseller that wants to have your brand in front of a client, or a customer that wants its brand on its phones, we've got you covered here. And the really awesome part is it's not expensive. It's a low setup fee and a low minimum order quantity. So that's something that's not often seen in our industry. We're really proud to offer it. And of course, the ease of setup here. So if you're using a FreePBX system, these will configure like a dream. They work well with other PBXs, but really they are optimized for FreePBX. And we do offer add-on enhancements, such as an EHS adapter for headsets and a USB panic button tool that is made to work with our Codex emergency alert and reporting tools. So that's something I'll be talking about a little bit later with Alyssa's Law and schools now needing this panic button solution in every classroom. Okay, so best of all of our phones come with a 2-year warranty, and an additional extended 3-year warranty is available, giving each phone up to a 5-year warranty coverage, as well as the features listed on this slide. So let's take a closer look at the models. I'm going to go over the 230 first. So the 230 is our entry-level phone, but that really doesn't mean that it lacks features. It's gigabit with a 2.8-inch full-color screen. It supports up to 4 SIP accounts, so you can have 4 unique registrations or SIP accounts. The 4 line keys on the right-hand side of the screen can be line keys, BLFs, speed dials, or phone apps. With 4 pages, that's 12 programmable buttons. We support auto provisioning. As you can see, we support all of the network standards listed, including full Opus codec support and HD codecs like G722. Something unique to our phones, all of the brackets that you use to define the angle of the phone, the 2 different angles for how your phone sits on your desk. Well, this is really cool. So when it gets reversed around, it's actually a built-in wall mount bracket. So all of our phone models come with that built-in wall mount bracket, utilizing the same mount that is used to stand on your desk. With a dual port gigabit Ethernet, PoE support, you don't need multiple drops at each desk. So this is great for an environment that doesn't have dual runs. Instead, the phone will provide a port for your internet line to pass through the phone and onto your computer. So the 230 is our smallest phone and is ideal for a crowded workspace. And again, it easily mounts on the wall, eliminating the need for desk space entirely. We offer this model at an industry low of $109. This is US MSRP. And you can add that 3-year warranty for an additional $18 for a total of 5 years. So that's pretty impressive. That's going to give you real bumper to bumper coverage there. So let's move on to our mid-level offering, our 250 set. So the 250 is our midline phone offering all of the features of the 230 while adding some more tools. So it's got the same 2.8-inch color screen as the 230, but adds an additional 4 programmable keys to the left of the screen. So you get a total of 8 programmable buttons with up to 8 separate SIP accounts that you can register. And with the 4 pages of 7 buttons per page, since the 8th button becomes your next page button, you actually get 28 programmable buttons on the phones. So the 250 also supports an optional EHS adapter box that works with Plantronics and Jabra headsets. And this is a gigabit dual port phone with PoE support as well as the Opus codec. This phone works well for account managers and really any general office worker. Price is $142. That's the US MSRP price with a 3-year extended warranty for an additional $23. That'll give you that 5-year coverage on this model. Okay, our 270, my personal favorite. It's our most popular and most powerful phone. Full auto provisioning for the alphabet soup you see listed here. The 270 adds an additional button on each side of the larger 4.3-inch screen, giving you 10 line keys. Those 10 keys support up to 36 programmable paperless keys. Again, the phone will support EHS module as well, allowing compatibility for Plantronics and Jabra headsets, dual port gigabit Ethernet, and again, a stand with 2 angles, also reversible for a wall mount. Bluetooth and Wi-Fi are built into the 270, so there is no dongle required. The 270 also supports connecting to our CIP200 expansion module. So the 270 has a built-in USB port. It will support that panic button I mentioned earlier. We'll discuss that in a few slides. Native 5-way conference calling. Again, you've got that brandable front faceplate on this phone and all of the phones. So this is our most popular phone with a ton of functionality, and at an MSRP of $192 USD, it's a great value. So this executive set really is a no-brainer for a sleek, elegant, functional IP desk phone that really every user will want. Okay, next up is our CIP200 sidecar. It's designed to extend the programmable keys for the 270 model. So the expansion module works with the 270 to complement it with additional programmable LED buttons. It is a color screen, so it's not black and white. So it'll offer you 20 additional programmable LED buttons with 2 pages. So you're going to have paperless support for 40 keys. You can daisy chain up to 4 of these together, allowing for 60 additional programmable keys and support for up to 120 paperless keys, completely rebrandable front faceplate for customers and partners. So this makes it perfect for a busy receptionist or an answering position needing more programmable keys for easy call transfer. For only $192 USD MSRP, it really is an affordable way to set up your team for success, and you can add the 3-year extended warranty for a total of 5-year coverage on the sidecars as well. Okay, so the last 2 pieces of hardware work with both the CIP250 and the CIP270 phones. So that's that EHS30 adapter, which will allow calls to be answered and hung up through your headset. So when you have a call coming in, you can easily answer by pushing the button on your headset, and that will activate the phone to answer the call. We also have a USB panic button, and it connects to the 250 or 270 via that USB port. So this is really slick. It allows programming the USB button to call any destination on the phone system, such as a ring group, queue, or page group. So let's say in the event of an emergency, when pressed, it will call a defined destination and activate the microphone. So the phone will not show it as on an active call, and the speaker on the phone will not be active. It will only activate the microphone and broadcast the audio to the destination that your system administrator has defined. So this is a great solution. The programmability of the panic button makes it compliant with the new ELISA's law, which is a law that has passed in a number of states that, in schools or classrooms or other large corporation or multi-room environments, they need a button for an emergency that can quickly be pushed. So it is being considered as well on the federal level. So keep this panic button in mind for your future customer requirements. And the panic button does work with our Codex emergency alert and reporting tool, offering a full set of reporting tools where honestly minutes can matter, and that's a really great solution and add-on to your deployments. Okay, let's talk about the customization. So all of our ClearlyIP phones in the expansion module are brandable, offering our partners the ability to have their company name logo in front of their customers, or even offering their enterprise end users the ability to add their company name and logo to the phones, as well as the color screen. So this can really offer the wow factor businesses are looking for. It's really popular among law firms, banks, financial institutions, tech companies, really any business that wants to standardize and promote their brand in their own workplace. So for the rebranding, you'll notice at the top image of all our phones, it says your logo on them right at the top there and on the screen. So that is a little faceplate bezel that we laser engrave into the plastic. So it's not going to wear off like a screen or silk printing will. And we offer a complete rebranding of these phones for a low one-time setup cost of $395 US and a low minimum order quantity to get started. So this is really rare in our industry, and we're really proud to be able to offer to our customers and partners. We do believe in supporting our customers to promote themselves and their brand, as brand recognition is key in business and really for successful marketing. So we offer this complete rebranding service with a low minimum order quantity of only 10 phones at a time. Of course, you can order more, but that's the minimum. So, you know, it's not a requirement here to order 100 phones at a time. You can order 10, pay that one-time fee, and let us know what models you want, and we'll rebrand those phones for you. So this is there. Oh, I want to mention there's also an option to rebrand the box and the stickers too. So the box and stickers showcase your brand. It's simple to get set up, really easy. 3 steps. First step, contact sales. They'll work with you to generate an invoice for that one-time setup fee. You'll then get a link to a form where you're going to upload your logo or the image that you want on the phones. You can provide optional model numbers if you would like at the time too. And then our internal staff are going to create a proof of design. We'll send that to you for approval. Then we're going to make some samples, and then we'll take pictures of those samples on the phones and send them to you for your approval. And once approved, boom, you can start ordering your branded phones. This sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. And it typically happens in a 5-day period from when you initiate with us till it's ready for you to start ordering. So it's actually really fast. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about our phones with FreePBX, as I know we have several FreePBX end users and administrators with us today. So I think it's important we touch on this. So, and for those of you who are not familiar with FreePBX, you might want to stick around because it is the most widely used open source platform in the world. And we're going to be doing our live demo using that platform. So it's a great opportunity to see it. So when you're using our phones with FreePBX, we provide a module. It's free of charge that's used for quickly provisioning and management on the phone. So we've designed this module to include the most used features in an office setting. So it lets you set up templates and apply those templates to any group of phones. It has its own built-in provisioning server into the module, and it includes a suite of phone apps. I'm going to talk about those next. And it hooks into the UCP or user control panel FreePBX to allow end users to override their own phone button. So if you've got 5 phones that are sharing a single template, and any user can go and add their own speed dials or BLFs that overlay over the top of the template just for their phone only. So it's not going to affect other people's phones. Documentation on installing and using the module can be found down here at this bit.ly link, or if you just go to our knowledge base or kb.clearlyip.com. We do have full documentation on how to use the module, how to install it, and using the phones and using the modules. So as you can see, there are 7 phone apps included, allowing you to quickly access the phone features without excess button pressing. So a suite of phone apps that we're currently including are Follow Me app, Presence, and the ability to see your parked calls, the ability to park your calls, pick calls off park, do not disturb, transfer to voicemail, and true hot desking in real time without ever rebooting the phone with login and log out. So our hot desking offers full login and log out ability out of the phone all without the phones rebooting. Yay! When you're using hot desking, we actually have two modes of logout, mainly to be Kari's log compliant. So one mode is called full logout. A full logout is the phone is completely locked out. There's no default extension and nobody can make or receive calls on that phone. All you have on that phone essentially is a login button, and then you can log in as any user. And then we have what we call a logout to placeholder extension. So at a per user or group level, you can say when this user logs out automatically, log in this placeholder extension. And then you can set up in FreePBX your restrictions to say that that extension can call out to 911 route only, or maybe it can call out 911 and local. So then that default extension can still make calls based on what restrictions you lay out in FreePBX. And then any user can hit that login button and log into the phone as their extension. So this provides tight integration if you're using our SIP trunking with 911 and the ability for users to change their 911 locations to be Kari's Law and Baum Act compliant right from our phones using our 911 service that we provide, allowing you to fully control all that dynamic 911 information. So there's an easy one-time procedure to install the ClearlyIP module for FreePBX. Again, go to our knowledge base for instructions that are simple and fast to follow, kb.clearlyip.com. But I'm going to take you through the steps real quick here just to illustrate how easy it is. So when you're in there, you're going to simply select Clearly Device Module for FreePBX from the left-hand side. Then you're going to copy the link. You can see it highlighted in red here on the slide. Select the Upload Modules tab. Download from web. Paste your copied link into the Download Remote Module box, and then click the Download from Web button. Then you're going to click on Clearly Devices and click Install. Make sure that when the installation is done that you check online for any updates that may have been posted. That's an important step. And then the status will show you if there's an online upgrade available. It's really that easy and simple. Okay, next I want to mention our Softphone solution. So although we're mainly focused on our physical IP desk phones today, I do want to mention we also have a really great Softphone solution. It works great with FreePBX. We have mobile and tablets covered with our Clearly Anywhere mobile Softphone solution. And the setup of it is super easy. We're not going to need to demonstrate this today. You can set this up quickly by scanning a QR code or by logging in with your username and password that will be provided by the system administrator. If you are curious to see this, let us know. Reach out to sales. But our mobile soft phone is a really great solution and really complementary to our physical IP desk phones. All right, I am now going to hand things over to Tony. He's going to do the live demo and show you how everything works. How are you today, Tony?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, Bree.
Awesome.
Okay, so you should be able to see my screen at this point.
Yes.
And what I have up here is a FreePBX based system, and I've installed our module we called Clearly Devices. And this is a provisioning module that's free to use with all of our phones. Once that module is installed, on our wiki, we document how to install the module. It's pretty simple. You do it right from the FreePBX GUI. You just upload it and install it. And from there, we're just need to go actually set up some settings related to this module. So the first thing I'm going to do is, since we're going to show some hot desking here, I'm going to have the system create some hot desk defaults for us. So I'm going to click this one-time button. I'm going to tell it what extension I want to be for my hot desking when I log out, what it's going to log in as so they can still call 911. So I'm going to pick 9999. This extension doesn't exist on the system, so it's going to auto-create it for us. So if we actually go look under extensions in FreePBX, we'll see it auto-created extension 999. So if we go back to our Clearly devices, we'll notice now here on the right, we have some defaults created for when we're logged out. We have a logged out template for when we're logged out, and then we have some layouts, button layouts for each of the three models for when the phone is logged out. So we're going to actually go create our default template we use when we log a phone in now, or when a phone is active. So we're going to hit Add Template. I'm going to call this Default. And it's going to use the built-in provisioning of the module. So it's going to tell the phones, hey, I'm over at 1060.100.121. This could be your domain name if you wanted. You can control this in our module. And then I told it to use a simple, really secure password of admin, or username of admin and a password of admin, just for my testing here. And it's going to do provisioning on port 2580. So in here, I can set a whole bunch of settings related to the phone. The thing I care about most is going to be time zone. So I'm going to make sure my time zone is set to something that works for me. So I'm picking Chicago because I'm central. And then under phone settings, the only other thing I like to do is to talk about these features we have of long and short press. Kind of a newer concept. Not many phones support this. So the idea of a long and a short press is when you set up a BLF, you can automatically have that BLF add some prefixes before it dials the extension of the BLF. And what I mean by that is we have a concept of a short press. You press and release the button, and we have a concept of a long press. You press and hold the button for a second. So if the BLF, which is a button I programmed to monitor another extension, is idle, they're not on an active call, and I long press the button, I'm going to have it add star 80. Star 80 in FreePBX is the intercom prefix. So instead of hitting the button and having it ring that phone, you're gonna hit that button and it's gonna send a command to the phone to go automatically off hook onto the speaker so you can intercom with them. So if I long press, if I press and hold that button for a second while it's idle, instead of calling them, it's gonna dial star 80 plus their extension number, so their phone's gonna auto answer. But short press idle, down here, I'm not gonna add a prefix. So it's just gonna ring them like normal instead of telling them to auto answer. And I could do the same thing, for example, in use. So if the button's in use, meaning they're on an active call, I could say on a short press, add star to the extension number. In FreePBX, star plus the extension number sends the caller right to voicemail. So if I short press the button when they're in use, I'm going to go right to their voicemail box. But if I long press it while they're in use and I don't add anything here like star, it's just going to call them normal. So if they have call waiting, it's just going to come in as a second call. So if I really want to interrupt the call they're on and bother them, I can long press the button, where if I short press it, it'll go right to voicemail. So just kind of some neat things you can do by changing the call behavior based on the state of the BLF and if you short or long press something. So once you have your global template settings set up here, we submit this. And now we can start doing some button layouts. So we're going to go add a new model layout. And my example is going to be on a 270. We're going to call this our default. And under line keys, we'll see the first 3 buttons are line keys that we've got set up. They don't have to be, we just chose to. Button 4, we're going to do that smart BLF that we talked about. So label is going to be Brian and 1002, for example. So the smart BLF is that it'll honor the long and short press. Or we can do, so notice here I typed in the name Brian and his extension number. We also have this thing called linked. So if I pick BLF linked smart, it just gives me a list of all the extensions and I pick it. And it will now use 1002, and then Brian Doe happens to be the extension name inside of FreePBX. What's nice here is if you ever go to that extension and change the name, it will automatically populate all of the buttons that are linked to 1002. It'll update that name. So if you have a turnover on staff and you change the extension name in FreePBX, every phone that's using a BLF to that extension will also update the name to show what the new name is. So you don't have to come in and reprogram your phones for that. And then we're going to add some of our phone apps. So I'm going to add our Follow Me app, and I'm going to add our Log Out, and we're going to add our E911, just to give an idea. So we're going to submit this. So we've done a quick little layout, and we've programmed 7 buttons for a 270. Now, I may have other models. I might have another 270. I want different layouts. So we can clone this and use it as our starting point. So if I hit the clone button, I now can pick what model I want it to be. So it cloned what was in the last layout we just did. So I'm going to pick a 250 and call this one default for the 250. If we notice under buttons, it brought over all the buttons from the other layout we had for us. We can submit that. So if we look here, we have a logged out 270 and our default 270, a logged out 250, a default 250. If we come into our default 250, we can clone it one more time. We'll make it be a 230 this time. So now we've got layouts for all three of our models done. And now we just have to tell the phone how to reach the PBX the first time. So we have a redirect server like lots of other manufacturers do. I've already set up this phone in our redirect server right here. So I'm telling them the phone, I have my example phone, to redirect to this PBX. So if I go to the phone and I reboot it, okay, so we'll see the phone has hit the provisioning system. So the phone has hit the PBX through the redirect server. And in the PBX, we have not told this MAC address anything, what to do. So if we look under device mapping, we don't have anything here. So it doesn't know what to provision the phone with. So it just gets our default config, which is a login button. And it's telling you clearly the phone's logged out, no emergency calling, no outbound calling. So we can, at this point, we could decide that we want to map the phone ahead of time. So we can come in here, add mapping, and say it's a extension 1000, the template we want to use, provide the MAC address, and what layout we want. Or we can simply just hit the login button, type in our extension number and our password, which is your voicemail password. Hit submit. Oh, I'm not authorized for logging in, apparently. Permissions in FreePBX, user management, groups. So everything in FreePBX is permissionable, and I've just got to run in under Clearly Devices, hot desking, and pick which devices they're allowed to log in as. And now we wait for FreePBX to load, but I think that should do it now. So it's loading now. It should be. Once FreePBX is done reloading. Okay, so the phone's actually rebooting now because it's going to get new firmware, but I just logged in. The phone only reboots when it needs new firmware. So if the firmware on the server is the same as what's on the phone, it'll never reboot on hot desking. It'll only reboot when it sees there's new firmware and it has to load that firmware. So you can hot desk or you can provision a phone just by logging in like we did, or you could provision a phone by actually doing that mapping right here. And you notice it mapped it for us now. When we logged in, it automatically said we logged in as 1000. We logged in from this MAC address. And because we didn't have any other model layouts defined, it just used the default one. If we had more than one model layout defined in a model layout that isn't logged out, it would then prompt us which one we want. And it did the mapping for us. You could have just done this mapping instead, and then the phone would have just picked up its config and wouldn't have prompted you to log in. So at this point, the phone's going to go through an update firmware, which is going to take a little bit. I should have done that first. So at this point, Bree, I think we will go into Q&A and kind of let the phone boot up here and answer any questions that people have.
Sure.
While the phone updates firmware. So in the Q&A section, you can ask any questions. So we've got one question here is, hot desking, if you have multiple templates, how do you control what somebody's allowed to use when they log in? Okay, so that's pretty simple. Let's actually do that. So you notice we have a 270 layout right here. Let's pretend we had a different one for executives. So we're going to clone this one, and we're going to call this execs. And submit it. And now back in FreePBX under User Manager, where you manage all your FreePBX user permissions, I could come in, for example, and say for Mike Smith. So right by default, I guess let's take a step back. By default, permissions inherit their permissions from the group in FreePBX. So if we go look at the group, we will see under Clearly Devices, hot desking, when they go to log in, the templates they're allowed to see, and the only one we have is the default template. And the layouts they're allowed are these 3 layouts. So everyone who's using this group is allowed these 3 layouts in this template. You could put exec in here, and now that we have 2 different 270s in here, it will prompt them which one do you want to load. Or we could uncheck this, and we could go into a user and override the group, or we could create a new group. So this is just normal FreePBX logic. So we could go into a user. Under Clearly Devices, we'll see it's inheriting from the group. For the layouts, we could not inherit. We could say just the exec only. And now it'll override what's in the group and only let them use the exec layout. And now anytime this user, who happens to be 1001, logs in, no matter what device they log in, as long as it's 270, it will use this layout. Okay, our phone is back up. There it is. Firmware's been updated. You notice there's the buttons we did. While we leave this up, I'm going to go in. Our second question is related to, do changes automatically get pushed to the phone and the phone's reboot on changes? So if we come into a layout, the 270, and we're going to minimize this screen so you can see both at the same time. There you go. And we come into line keys. Let's say we want to add a do not disturb button here for button number 8. We do that, we hit submit. This is going to go through and find every phone that's using this template, and it's going to push an update to all those phones that are using that template. And there you go. Now you have do not disturb. So all without the phones rebooting. And now the phone's got the do not disturb button. So everything's real time that when you make changes, it just pushes it to the phone. Okay, can we set up 2 different extensions on a single phone, but from 2 different PBXs? So extension 1000 is one FreePBX, extension 200 is on FreePBX B. Not really today, not with the module in FreePBX, you can't. With our cloud-based provisioning tool, we do support that, but the module here, since the provisioning is coming from a single PBX, you can't do it with this module. There's ways of doing it. You could do it inside the phone's GUI or through some override configs. There's lots of ways of accomplishing it, but there's not an easy in the GUI way of doing it from our module. Being asked, what is E911? So E911 is an app we use with our trunking only. It only works with our SIP trunking, where we have this idea of what's called dynamic location routing for 911. And what the E911 app will do is it will show you what your current 911 location is and let you change it. So if we launch the app, you'll see my current endpoint is Appleton office, and my current location is 3255 Highview Drive warehouse. So it's saying I'm in the warehouse. Well, I'm actually not in the warehouse today. So I can hit the change button, and I can pick from all the different locations that have been loaded for me. So I'm on the first floor today, and I hit submit, and now confirm that. And now if I were to call 911, it's going to pass this other information now that I'm on the first floor, not the warehouse anymore. And if we hit the E911 button, we'll see it's showing that no longer the warehouse inside the description. So it just allows you to change your current 911 location information that's going to be sent to the 911 dispatchers real time from the phone. It also can hook into the login app. So on login, from the FreePBX user manager, we go back to that group or a user. We do have the ability under Clearly Devices, E911, you can say every time the phone boots up, automatically show what the 911 current location is on boot. So you could enable that. And you can say, show them what the current 911 location is every time they log in. You can enable or disable that. Okay, any other questions? Being asked, how do users change their own buttons? So that can be done 2 ways. You, the admin, can manage that through Clearly Devices, the module again, like we did earlier. Go to your layout. Or if you want end users to be able to just change buttons for their phones only, we have a widget inside of the user control panel, UCP or FreePBX. So if we log in with, there we go. So in UCP, this is FreePBX stuff. If we come over here, we'll see don't have it enabled my permissions. Hold on. So first we got to go into FreePBX permissions like everything. And we'll go to the group permissions. And under UCP, there is a Clearly Devices, and it should be allowed. Apply config. So once that's done applying, you can add a widget in here, and that allows users to change the buttons for their phone only. It won't change the template, so if multiple phones are using the same template, it's only going to overlay the changes they want for their phone only for that user. So it allows the ability to let users control their button layouts right from UCP without having to bother the administrator to go set up a separate template or change the template. Let's see, is that done loading? Almost. Let's see if it shows up now. Must not be quite done loading yet. I must be logged in as a different user. There we go. I knew I had this set up. So you'll notice I already have the widget loaded. 1000, the brand models, the 270, it's using the default layout, and there's its MAC address. If I hit the little gear cog here, it'll open up a table to let me manage all my buttons. So it shows me what the current buttons are from the template, and I can either change existing buttons from the template, or I can add new buttons, and it will push it to the phone real time, just for my extension only. Okay, that seems to be it for questions, Bree.
Awesome. Well, we're just 2 minutes away from being 45 minutes, so it's probably a good time to wrap up.
Perfect.
So thank you, everybody. I just want to mention, if you are looking for some more information about our phones or the rebranding or seeing the Softphone, feel free to reach out to sales anytime. You know, they're always there to answer any other questions you may have or anything that, you know, Tony or I may have missed. We've got a ton of events coming up, and actually our next event in March is going to be a little bit about setting up a call center and the benefits, the best tips and strategies, and then a live demo on how to do that using one of our ClearlyIP platforms. So definitely check that out. And I think that is actually the next event on the schedule. So I will see you then. Thank you again for your time and patience. I hope you learned a lot about our phones and how easy they really are to set up. Thank you so much, Tony. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.